back to New Bits with Vac and Vinnie, the only podcast where you get to hear professional comedians working out bits, bringing them to the stage for the first time, and then bringing it back to the podcast.
That's right.
So you can hear it fly or die. It's first time on stage.
That's right. That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
You got to try a new bit the first time. You got to try it at some point, you know, and see how it goes. And sometimes it hits and sometimes not, but
sometimes it doesn't. So it's cool because we critique these bits. We discuss what's wrong with them. We come up with possible solutions. We make them better. And I got to tell you, I'm excited about the process because once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fly or die video for you. Last week, Greg, Danny Johnson, and myself were discussing this bit that I came up with about my son. It was how I hate my son, how I hate my youngest son. And basically, it was just a thought that I threw out on stage, and it got a big laugh. So I just started riffing on it. You know, I just started throwing out lines, and the people were laughing here and there and there. But I could feel this was a bit. So I brought it to the podcast, and Danny and Greg had some incredible directions for me to go. So now it's a bit with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'm super excited about it.
That's good, man.
I used a little. Yeah, I used a little bit of your suggestions, Greg. I used a little bit of Danny's suggestions, and of course, my suggestions. Of course, it's my bit. But all three of us have basically shaped this into a recognizable piece of clay. I think we're just gonna hammer away some stuff, and we're gonna make it good. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, listen, that's the idea, man. That's what's so fun about it.
Yeah, it's a good time. And I'm really excited about it. So without any further ado, why don't we just take a look at it? This is the bit that I tried on stage for the very first time Sunday at Zany's in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, so let's take a look at it. Where are the parents in the room? Let me hear you. Parents. More than 2 kids, 2 or more kids. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you find that the more kids you have, the longer it takes for you to fall in love with them? Yeah. Not just me. My firstborn, my son, he was born, it took me about 4 weeks. I'm like, I love this kid. You know, I didn't fall for that, as soon as you look into your kid's eyes, you'll never know. It didn't happen for me like that. It took 4 weeks for me to fall in love with my son. My daughter, she came along, it took about 9 months. Seriously, 9 months. I'm like, oh, wow, I love this little girl. The 16-month-old baby, I hate this kid, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I hate it. When is it going to happen? When am I going to fall in love with this kid? Oh, I can't stand him. He shrieks at the top of his lungs for no reason. Yeah! This piercing sound that just penetrates you right through your soul. We can't have end tables. We can't have coffee tables because if he finds something, he just whips everything off of it, throws coffee down. He doesn't care. Just makes messes all over the place. He throws food at us. Yeah, all kids drop food. This kid whips food at you. I'm sure in a couple of years I'm going to be happy about his 102-mile-an-hour fastball, but right now I can't stand this kid. When am I going to fall in love with him? When does it happen? Does it happen? Yeah. It will? Yeah. I don't know, man, because I'm watching this video about the cuckoo bird. You ever see the cuckoo bird? He has between 2 and 3 babies, and when the mother cuckoo bird leaves the nest to go find food, the oldest sibling tosses the baby out of the nest because it doesn't want to compete for food. So I'm showing this video to my oldest son. And I'm like, Junior likes Milky Ways too, buddy. We're only as strong as our weakest link. Just gotta let you check that out. So I bought the baby a bird costume, and I left for this weekend. I'll tell you what happened. All right, so there it is. All right.
And ballsy, man. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. A couple of things about the show. It was half full, and I'm sure you've experienced this before, Greg. They were smilers. Mm-hmm. You ever have an audience that's all smiles? You know, they don't make a lot of noise,
right?
But then they come up to you after the show and they're all like, "Oh my God, you were so funny!" I'm like, "Really? Why didn't you make some noise?" You know, yeah. But
we didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, right. So I could feel the energy in the room was good while I was doing the bit. So I was feeling good about it, and I felt I sold it okay. But I do have a couple of suggestions on what it needs.
Okay.
Yeah, on what it needs. Okay, first of all, amateur mistake right at the top of the bit. I asked 2 questions, bang, bang, right in a row. 2 questions that I can easily combine. You know,
right,
I said, where are the parents? And then I said, what parents have more than 2 or more kids? That could have been, where are the parents with 2 or more kids? That could have been one question, and I could have been moving right along. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Get you to the point quicker. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The other thing that I saw that I think the bit really needs is an example of why it took 9 months to love my daughter. And also I was thinking about cutting that back to 6 months just to make, the baby's age seem, more like, when is this going to happen?
Yeah. Because I actually wrote that down. 9 months was a long time.
Yeah.
Like you don't want them to go, what kind of asshole father are you? So the first kid, maybe 4 weeks, maybe the second kid, even maybe less than 6 months.
Maybe like 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
You know what? That's funny. 2.5 is funny. Don't you think that's funny? 2.5.
Yeah, because it's an odd number. I mean,
it's an odd number. It's an odd number, and it'll make the 16 months seem like, when is this going to happen?
Yeah.
So I think I need a reason for why it took so long for me to love this little girl, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. I just want to go over these points real quick, Greg.
Okay.
But the one thing I did come up with, I don't even know if it's funny, but it was, hey, maybe I didn't like that she was taking my attention away from the kid that I loved. This little pain. I love him, but shut up, stop crying. No, I want to pay attention.
Okay.
That right off the top of my head, that's what when I was writing the notes. That's what I came up with. But it definitely needs a reason, but not like reasons like I give for hating the 16-month-old. I'm just gonna go bam, bam, bam with those. But I just need like one reason. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a second. I wrote down for my firstborn. It took me about 4 weeks to love this kid, and then I did that whole thing about, you'll never know love like the love you feel the first time you look into your child's eyes. Well, that didn't happen for me. I think I do the 4 weeks after I say that. Like I talk about.
Okay.
I talk about how it's the more kids you have, does it take you longer to love them? Like my son, when he was first born, they tell you, you'll never know love like the first time you look into the eyes of your child as the first day he's born. Well, that didn't happen for me. It took me 4 weeks to love this kid. It was like a realization that I had while I was driving in the car. I'm like, you know what? I love that kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I had to realize it, because babies, they do the first month, sometimes 2 to 3 months, they are a nightmare with the crying, the waking up every 2 hours. It's hard. I mean, my wife fell in love with him immediately. It didn't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
All right, but there's an honesty to that, which is really good.
Yeah. So I think I should do that old cliche, you'll never know love, blah, 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 first, and then do the it took me 4 weeks. It took me 4 weeks for my first
4 weeks. 4
yeah,
weeks,
4 weeks. Okay, it didn't happen immediately. Okay, and then my daughter, took me 2.5 months for her. So okay. Okay, I also wrote down better examples for why I hate him. Okay, they got to be more descriptive. They got to be better constructed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, yeah.
How did you word it again?
Well, once again, that was a section of the bit where I was going to go, okay, I'm going to talk about him knocking stuff over. I'm going to talk about him screaming. I'm going to talk about him, blah, blah, blah. But they weren't fleshed out. I think they need to be fleshed out. They need to be better constructed. They need to be, you know what I'm saying? They need to be, they need to be probably memorized,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, one thing that I called him, and my wife started cracking up, and this was like a couple months ago. I go, this fucking kid is a wrecking ball. He's just a fucking wrecking ball. I think that's funny. I think I should throw that. I go, this kid's a wrecking ball.
Yeah. All right. He's a wrecking ball.
He's a wrecking ball. Oh, and then I wanted to talk about how because I hate him so much, I deliberately torture him. I didn't do that in the bit. How he's running for the gate, and I wait for him to get like 1.5 feet away, and I sham it just to watch him lose his mind.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, just to dig the point home that I hate him.
Yeah.
The other thing I wrote down was at the end, I go, and this right here is a really nitpicky technical point. At the end, I got to specify the costume because I said, so I bought him a bird costume. I should go back. So I bought him a cuckoo costume because that's the bird I'm talking about, right? The cuckoo bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went online, Greg, and I did some research about what bird does that. And there's a bunch of them, but cuckoo bird was the funniest.
Cuckoo bird is funny.
Yeah, the cuckoo
and
bird.
People know it.
Yeah, the cuckoo bird does that. So, I got to specify. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bought the baby a cuckoo bird costume, and I left for the weekend. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, we got to make sure that that your older son has watched that video.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
See, little brother. Yeah. What'd you say? He likes Twinkies, or what is it? He likes.
Well, I said Milky Way, but remember, we came up with Skittles last episode.
That's
it. Skittles is a funny word. You always got to. And by the way, my son loves Skittles, so you got to go with the funny word. Yes. But he does love Milky Ways. But in the bit that I did Sunday on stage at Zany's, I said Milky Way. Should have said Skittles. It just sounds.
Skittles is funny. The K, it's funny. I want to make sure that when you word it, that you're definitely getting the point across that you're telling your older son, who you love and adore now, and you've bonded so well,
right?
That what it's unspoken. You show the video. Look, I bought the younger one a cuckoo bird costume. I'm like, he likes Skittles too. You understand? Like some kind of a father-son understanding.
Yeah. It has to be clear.
Were we gonna do? We also had stuff about being afraid of your son, right?
Yeah, that was with
the first one.
That was with the bit about Vicky and Dada. I need
yes.
And then Sonny doesn't ask for anything. He just tells me what he's doing. Yeah. Hey Dada, I ate the last cream egg.
Right.
Yeah.
Dada. So
Dada, yeah.
So so you're going to establish that you're a little afraid of Sonny, and then do this other bit.
Yeah, well, it would come after it. It would the I hate the baby bit would definitely come after that. If I do it again, but I only had so much time.
Yeah,
and that bit is still not worked out, and I wanted to try this new bit and get it on tape. Yeah. So when I have a little more time, or the audience is more cooperative, I'll definitely, it would definitely come after that. And so what do you think about this? This just came to me, Greg. What do you think about I show him the video, and I said, I know Sonny, Junior likes Skittles too. You understand your responsibility here?
Yeah. I'm going to leave the nest now.
There you go. There you go.
A little bit.
I'm going to leave the nest now. You do what you got to do.
If you do, it's up to you.
Yeah. Yes. Boom. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and you do the wink like something. I'll leave the nest now.
Yeah.
You understand, Daddy? Yeah. You understand, Daddy?
Yeah. Dude, that's perfect. Oh, that wraps it with a bow. Okay, so the ideas I had for better examples for why I hate him. I did he screams for no reason. And this is true, Greg, by the way. This is true. He just makes this shriek sound when he just feels like he needs attention. And it's just the worst, loudest, piercing sound. And he literally goes like this. I'm not going to do the scream, of course, but he goes, ah! And he has that like expression on his face, like he did something wrong.
Huh.
Like he knows he did something wrong. But that sound out of nowhere, just, hey, look at me, Yeah. And I'm like, God, like so many times, Greg, I've been like dozing off, it's after dinner or something like that. I'm like, it's like watching TV, and my wife's, whatever, working or something right next to me or on her phone or something. And he just shrieks, and I jumped out of a sound snooze or whatever I was doing.
Yeah, sound nice, pleasant snooze. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I turn to my wife, I go, will you put him outside? Just put him outside. What do you think about the torture thing? Like that's worth mentioning, don't you think?
Yeah.
About
torture
closing the
is a
gate.
Strong word.
Yeah. Torment's better, right?
Yeah.
Torment. Yeah, you're right. Torture is a little bit too harsh.
Maybe. Yeah. We're talking about kids,
We're talking about kids. You're talking about kids. Yeah.
And they're yours.
Yeah, right. Yeah. My audience members are going to call child services on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like to torment him. Nothing too bad,
I torment him a little bit, so I don't have to explain the whole gate thing. Whenever I open the front door, he comes running. He thinks he's going to get to go outside. I wait until he's about a foot away, and I slam it just to watch him lose his mind.
It's hysterical.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But, it's so juvenile. It's so juvenile of me, but he just does some annoying stuff. When he's done eating, Greg, like you're feeding him with a spoon or something, when he's done, he does, what most kids do? They turn their head. You know what he does? He slaps the spoon out of your hand, goes across the room, slaps it. So like every single bite now, we've learned we got to hold his hands down. so we got to feed him. And when he's done, he finally turns his head. He's a wrecking ball, Greg.
Yeah, I don't want the bit to get too wordy because there's a lot there.
Right.
It would be good if you gave an example of something he does.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe not too many, maybe just like one or two.
Yeah, just so they can kind of understand where you're coming from. That the kid's a pain in the ass. You know, the other two didn't do that.
There, you know what? That's a good point there. I should mention that. The other two didn't do this. The other two didn't do this stuff. Yeah.
When they were full, they just turned away.
Yeah.
The other watching TV or whatever, they would just take a nap. This one.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. That's good. Okay. Yeah. What was the other one? The other one was with the we can't have we can't do, and that's also true. We can't have coffee tables. We can't have end tables. We literally had to move them into the basement because he'll either climb up on top of them or he'll just knock over what's ever on my, more times than I can count. My wife had a full cup of coffee on the end table, and this kid runs over and we're like, oh, and he just pop like that, just knocks it off onto the couch. He wants everything on the floor. This evening he pushed the chair, the kitchen chair he pushed it against the oven. He was on top of the oven, climbing. If that thing was on, so we had to take the chairs out of our kitchen and put them in the foyer with the gate. So with the locked gate. This kid is I've never seen anything like it. None of the other two weren't like this. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he's a wrecking ball, Greg. So, you see, I could, like you said, you don't want it to be too wordy. I could get lost in examples.
Yeah.
And
that's it. And he puts the chair up, climbs up on the stove,
climbed up on the oven. Yeah.
The oven.
See, right, just on my just at the top of my head, it just occurred to me. I forget which episode we were discussing that bit that friend of yours does, where it just goes on and on and on and on, and the audience starts laughing because he's so committed.
Right.
Do you think this would have any of that? If and only if, in my opinion, everything was a structured sentence or two about each incident. I couldn't be ad-libbing it. It'd have to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I think that's something that either we'd have to see like on stage, because definitely. I think the bit you're talking about that I was telling you about was a list. He just hammered out a list.
Yeah.
1, 2 words, boom.
Right.
List. A notebook,
different situation.
This or that. It wasn't a story behind each one. It was just, here's what I did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was quick. It was rat-tat, and it was like 30. So we got 30 things out in less than 30 seconds.
Okay. The cool thing about this, Greg, is I think with all these tweaks, I already think the bit works. I already think it works. I mean, you know how you can feel the energy of the audience going up and down. Yeah. The energy was up at that point. Okay, even though they were a small crowd, half full. Even though they were smilers, and you've seen those audiences, the energy was up. I could feel it. I was like, oh, this has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
The good thing about all that is, if you cut the fat, the bit lasted 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Cut out all that fat, that's maybe 2 minutes.
Okay.
That's 2 minutes added to my set right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice hunk. Yeah. And it's interesting because I don't know what the comics are talking about how they hate their kid. I hate this little brat. You know what I mean? Just
yeah. Well, I've never heard it, but the premise is the more kids you have, the longer it takes for you to fall in love with them.
Right.
What's that about? Yeah. So I've never heard anybody doing it.
So
Greg, the line of the night, the line. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I said, when do you think you'll fall in love with him? Should you give him a date? Like
when do I?
In other words, you're saying the more kids you have, the longer it takes you to fall in love with them.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever fall in love with this kid, or will it be maybe when he's 18 and out? I mean,
oh, that's interesting. That's interesting to talk about that. I wonder if it's ever going to happen. What's he going to be 18 years old? I'm going to be like, you get the hell out of my house.
I love you, son. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget the line. You were going to say the line of the night.
The line of the night is, I'm going to leave the nest now. That's the line of the night. That's that, now. Dude. That
you understand me.
You understand me, right? Yeah. Right. Talk about. Yeah. He's 18 years old.
I think for that part about you're trying to get your older son to take care of the younger son, I think you're going to kind of need to establish that maybe you're afraid of him a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you don't have to.
If I don't do the bit, if I don't do the daughter bit, which leads into the Sonny, me being afraid of Sonny bit. Yeah. Yeah. Possibly.
I mean, you might not have to, but it might just be a matter. You might be able to just go into it.
Yeah.
You know, Sonny, there's only one box of Skittles. What I'm going to do now, Sonny, so I put your brother in a little bird costume. What was it? What kind of bird was it?
Cuckoo bird
costume.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the nest.
I'm going to leave the nest now.
Whatever happens, it happens.
Whatever happens.
It happens.
You understand? Do we understand each other?
We understand.
Still gonna
remember, that whole box used to be yours.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Remember those days, Sonny?
Yeah. Okay, wait a second. That whole box used to be yours. That's great. That's great. That nails it home right there. Remember those days?
Remember?
Nice.
Remember when it was just in the nest, and now he came along, and
yeah.
Did you see the video? I gotta go. Daddy's got to go now.
Daddy's got to go to work.
Daddy's got to go make.
He's wearing a cuckoo costume.
Yeah.
So I dressed him up in a cuckoo costume, and I'll let you know what happens. Yeah. Greg, it's awesome.
Okay.
I'm very happy.
I think you should be. It's really funny.
I'm very happy. And see this right here, this the line of the night, that puts a bow on it. And then I tag it with, remember, Sonny, that whole box used to be yours. Remember those days? Yeah.
Those days. I'm just saying. Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Well, let's see. On the 29th, I have another opportunity to tape it, and I'm going to do it.
All right.
And whether we do a video review about it or not, I'm going to bring it back to the podcast. Let everybody look at it, because you know what I'd love people be able to see a bit in its infant stages, like Sunday. Boom, and build and evolve into like just a killer bit, which I really have a feeling this is going to be a killer bit. I just have that feeling about it.
It's in your you feel it in your bones. Yeah.
You feel it in your bones. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent work, Greg. Thank you very much.
All right, man.
Cool. I think our next show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have an amateur comedian who's going to be doing 5 minutes of material in front of an audience for the first time. And before he does that material, He's going to bring it to our podcast, and he's going to let Greg and I punch it up. He's going to film it, and we're going to get to see Greg, a guy doing stand-up for the first time in front of an audience.
That's amazing.
So is everybody who listens to this podcast. So
yeah,
that's what everybody has to look forward to. And of course, Greg and I working out new bits, and maybe another look at the I Hate My Son bit.
Hysterical.
Fantastic work, Greg. I'm very excited about this. Thanks for the lines, man.
Sure. Anytime. That's why we're here.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any suggestions for the bits that Greg and I, or any of the comedians you hear on this podcast, you have any ideas for their bits, please email us at newbitspodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Greg, how can they find you?
gregvac.com is the website. It's got all the links to my social media and all that stuff.
Same here. If you want to find me, the easiest way to do it is just go to my website, connections to all my social media, and clips and all that kind of stuff. Vinnie.com, Vinnie.com. Again, Greg, can't thank you enough. Excellent work.
Okay, buddy.
I'll see you online, brother.
All right, man. Thanks, Vinny.